Good morning, you guys. It is 10:30 and I'm finally heading out to the gym. Basically, I have decided that getting up at 5 a.m. is just too much for me. So I'm gonna go to the gym Saturday, Sunday, Monday, right? So Monday will be early. But then Monday is the day I'm most motivated. So then the rest of the week I can kind of sleep in a little bit more. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'll be going to yoga in the evenings, which is much more doable for me because I love yoga way more than going to the gym. Anyway, something really good has happened since backpacking, really. It's probably been a gradual process this whole summer, but basically, doing what I used to do, walking, hiking, yoga, is not enough for me as far as like if I want to get my heart rate up. Like going for a walk used to get my heart rate up, and now my heart rate just doesn't really go up very much. So another thing that kind of is impacting this basically, or is a result of this, is I used to listen to audiobooks at the gym, and that also does not get me moving very fast. So I'm going to try Spotify today just to get my body moving a bit faster and try and get that heart rate up. Like, it's just more effort now to get my heart rate up. And just to be clear, this is not a problem that I am very mad about at all. So this morning, I basically just had a chill morning. I slept in as late as I want, which ended up being like a little after 8. And then I ended up just kind of chilling on the couch in my pajamas with a cup of tea and the book Sour Candy, which is for real horror as well. Like, this is my second for real horror book, I think. Sean is the boss on if it's like horror or not. But anyway, it was really good as well. I gave it 4 stars. Basically, it's the story of this guy who has this interesting encounter in Walmart. Of course, it's Walmart, by the way. If you don't have it in your country, basically, it's like a grocery store with loads of interesting people that shop there. Anyway, it's basically like this really rough-looking woman. Just like, she looks like she's at her wit's end. And there's a perfectly looking child with her who almost looks Amish the way he's dressed. So it's not that he's weird in his appearance, but it's that the mom and him don't seem to match. They don't seem to go together. Anyway, he is just screaming, creating a scene in the middle of this grocery store, Walmart, or this store in general. And so this guy is there to get chocolate for his girlfriend, and he's basically going to go back home, have loads of chocolate and have loads of sex. And yeah, so he is just like stopped in his grocery store encounter, just like staring at this like horrible situation and like just like this horrible child, and it's just reminding him he doesn't want kids and all this stuff. And basically, not only is this kid like weird as crap, and like the mom is just like kind of looking a hot mess herself, but like you should feel sorry for the mom, right? That her child is such a terror. But all of a sudden the mom also starts behaving really weird and just grabs a bag of sour candy and just tears it open in the middle of the store and just starts like putting like handfuls of it into her mouth. And at one point, this guy is offered a piece of sour candy as well, which is just like real weird. Some of it has been on the floor. It kind of seems like the piece he was offered was actually on the floor. Like, why would you eat that? Anyway, he eats it and things take a turn, a real bad turn, and the story goes on from there. That's really all you need to know. Sour candy has loads of gaslighting in it, and also loads of questions about parenting and about the choice or the lack of choice on becoming a parent. You guys, it's like 1:45 and I'm finally ready for my day. So I want to talk about Shorty September just in general, because it seems like there's loads more people participating this year than normal. And while I was getting ready for my day, I was watching Doris's video. She's from Aldi Books, and if you don't follow her, like, please correct your life and follow her. But I was just thinking that she is one of the many people that are doing it for the first time. And I just want to say why I love it. Number one, the people that host it are just like hilarious and like the best humans. And then Heather makes like the best like zine or like sheet for it, just depending on the year. Like it's just so entertaining and so joyful. And the reason that I love it so much beyond those things is basically that September is the busiest month of the entire year for me. Like as a teacher going back to school, I always put in more work now in September than I normally do the rest of the year. As a special education teacher, there are kind of like ebbs and flows throughout the year, and there are times when I'm just swamped with paperwork and meetings, but in general, September is the busiest just because we're starting the year. And so to have this challenge that focuses on reading the very shortest books and just getting instant gratification from reading them, like it is just perfectly planned with my like life schedule and just how busy I am in September. So I'm really excited to see that loads more people are participating this year, and I hope that they have as much fun with it as I do every single year. And yeah, Heather's vlogs are like amazing. And speaking of Heather's vlogs, I want to share something else, which is that if you are watching this, you might be under the assumption that I am also making daily vlogs. And you would be mistaken because, as I just said, I'm a teacher in September. We are on a long weekend that happens to correspond with the first 4 days of Shorty September. So I am doing Shorty vlogs for these 4 days over the course of our long weekend. And while it's possible I might do other Shorties, it's highly unlikely. So just enjoy these 4, and then maybe you will see like a weekend vlog every weekend in September. But yeah, not daily. I do not have the endurance that Heather does. All right, so now that I am ready for my day, I am going to be unboxing like my fall decor because I saw somewhere on Instagram that September 1 is the first day of Halloween, and like I feel this deep in my soul, so let's decorate. Fun fact, I switched my phone cases and this is the fall one. Okay, I also switched my earrings by season, so I put away some of the spring and summer ones. Dr. Fauci is hanging out in there. And oh, woodcock, yep, that's spring. And I pulled out my fall and winter ones. So I have snowflakes and I have little gingerbread, and then obviously the pumpkin that you just saw. Last but not least, I also changed my Kindle color cover for fall and winter. It's so cute. Okay, because I am feeling fall, regardless of what the temperature is outside, I am making some potatoes. So I'm almost done. I am boiling them initially, and then I'll show you what I'm gonna do. It is not healthy, but it is amazing. And potatoes are good for you. It's just maybe this is not the best way to prepare them. So here's the potatoes that are already boiled, and then some more are still cooking. All right, so next step, you mash them, which is super fun if you have a lot of aggression to get out. Unfortunately, it's a 4-day weekend and I'm just living my dream life. All right, so as you can see, they are smashed. And now it's time to get all the things. So olive oil, whatever seasonings you want. I like roasted garlic. Ugh. All right, loads of salt. Onion powder, garlic powder. Okay, actually I usually use kosher salt, but I just forgot and used regular salt. Anyway, this is what the finished product, or the almost finished product, looks like. Oh yeah, and then you bake it for like around 30 minutes, but it doesn't really matter. You just bake it till you feel like it's good. And as far as temperature goes, I usually do about 425, but that part doesn't really matter that much either. Right, and by now it's almost 3 o'clock, so I need to get started on my second book because my aim was 3 a day, just to finish over this long weekend. So I'm already 25-ish% done, a little bit over that because I've read 4 books. So I was just picking them willy-nilly, but now I might want to like reference the prompts to see what I'm missing and what I could select. Okay, so I am going to read I Who Have Never Known Men, and I'm counting this as Lodge Shorts, a book that I bought trying to look cool. Basically, I've always been curious about it because I've heard about it a lot on BookTube, and I can't specifically remember anyone who has actually read it, although Heather told me later that she has read it, which is basically how this whole thing happened. We were in a bookstore in St. Albans, and when I say we, I mean Heather, Sarah, and myself. And I saw it, and I had always been curious about it. As I said, I think that the cover is amazing and the title just sounds like really intriguing. And so I asked Heather, because she seemed like the one of us that was likely to have possibly read it. I just asked her if she's read it, and the look that she gave me was like, girl, like, you need this in your life. And so I picked it up, but the reason I'm saying that it could fit into the I'm trying to look cool prompt is not because like Heather gave me that face. It's more because it seems like a smart book, and I guess if I'm ever trying to look cool, I'm always trying to, or I'm not always trying to, but the way I would look cool is basically to be more intelligent than I actually am. And I don't know if this is a smart book or not, but it appears that way from the cover and from the title. I already love this book. Page 1, it starts with, since I barely venture outside these days, I spend a lot of time in one of the armchairs rereading the books. Like, right? Don't we already love that? And then the narrator starts talking about how easy access to knowledge was back in the day, in which I think she's probably referring to the time that we live in, although this was published in 1995. So we have even more access to knowledge than at the time when the author wrote this. And basically just like dumbfounded that people in our time period wanted to like humble themselves and like try not to appear like overly smart or like showing off or anything like that. And she's just like, oh my gosh, they had access to so much knowledge that I don't have now. And yeah, I think that is really cool that we do have access to all that knowledge, especially with the internet. Like, it's just mind-blowing all the things you can access online, like lectures from universities that you may never be able to go to are online, and podcasts, and just being able to be connected to so many people. Like, for example, let's pretend that I wanted to go to Europe. Like, I could totally go to Europe. Not right now because I need to catch up from going this summer. But, like, I have access to that. But what I wouldn't have had access to before starting BookTube is genuine friendships with, like, amazing people that, like, allowed me to experience England and Wales in a different way than I would have access to if I just like went on a tour or something. And like, there are so many friends in other countries as well, and so it's like, it's this deep level of knowledge we have access to. And I know I'm like off on a tangent that's not even connected to this book, but like, it's not just access to knowledge through books and lectures and podcasts, but it's also like people that we can connect to that we may not have been able to connect to before. Like, would have had to try and find myself a pen pal, and then who knows if they would be as cool as like Sean and Bert and Heather and Sarah. Like, maybe they would just be a dud. I don't know. I just finished Lodge Shorts, and for that I read I Who Have Never Known Men, and it was just amazing. And the ending was even more amazing. Like, not like the ending itself necessarily, although that was cool, but like just like the kind of wind down, I would say. So yes, I really loved it. Basically, this is what it's about. It is about 40 women who are just in a cage, and they don't know why they're in the cage. They don't remember a ton of life before they got into the cage, but they do remember some, and basically that's all they know is the cage and 3 guards that come just around just to watch them, and then also to like feed them a few times a day. And the lights kind of are on or dimmed at different parts of the day, but they don't really know if they're following like a normal like 24-hour routine or not. So it's like time is just very fluid and hard to judge like how many days have passed and how time has passed since being in the cage. Our narrator, the one who is telling the story and actually writing it down, was basically like around 15-ish when she was put in the cage, and is the youngest out of all the women. And it just basically follows her time in the cage, her reflections on life, and yeah, it just follows her for quite some time. That's really all I want to say, because I want you to discover this book for yourselves. But some things that I think are interesting is basically how some body sensations and experiences are kind of innate and will happen whether you're in a cage or not in a cage. And I just thought the description was so beautiful in regards to that. And it's just interesting to look at humanity and how people behave when they are locked in a cage, and just what survival looks like, and how our connections to people impact our lives, I guess. And then also, like, what would you do for survival, and how are our ethics determined by our innate feelings, and how are they determined by the outside world? I absolutely loved it. So it's kind of late. I don't know what time it is. Oh, 7:37. So I'm probably going to wrap this up now. I might read another book tonight, but I might not. And I just want to have time to get the vlog kind of edited before I go to bed for tonight. So anyway, I hope you guys had an amazing day, and I will see you tomorrow for another Shorty vlog.